Okay, continuing where I left off, I did a little bit more work, and I went ahead and finished these column headings. Now, remember I put them in the wrong order, so here's an easy way to fix that. I'm just going to rearrange the columns. I want to move m sub y experimental over here. So I'm going to select the whole column. If I move up to the top, it turns into a little down arrow. It's not working real well now. There we go. And if I click it again, it selects the header or not. So I want the header. So now I've got the whole thing selected. If I move to the edge of it, it turns into a four-way arrow. Click, and then I drag it. And you can see it shows where I'm going to put it. So I want it to be here. Okay, so now it's rearranged the way I want it. Okay. So now we can start populating the table. Okay, so for theta, we want just 0 through 90 degrees in 10-degree increments. And I could just type in all those, but Excel has a nice feature where it will, once you type in a pattern, it will expand the pattern, continue the pattern. So I'll just type in the first cell, 0, and then enter, goes down to the next cell. I put in 10. Now that should be enough for the pattern. So what I do is I'll just select these two cells, and then there's a little black square at the very corner, bottom right corner there. If I move my cursor there, it turns into a plus, and then if I click and drag down to where I want it will, and release, it'll fill in the rest. Boom. Nice. Okay. Now these numbers, the experimental numbers, were collected from doing the experiment. So these I would just type in, and rather than type, well, I'll just go ahead and start typing those. I'm just copying from the left there, 500, then enter, 490, etc. And let's see if I can just, that's how I would have had to do it originally, but now let's just see if I can just copy the rest of these. I'm going to select them. I think I can do Control C. Let's try that. And I'll come over here and I'm going to say Control V. Good, that worked. Okay. I'm going to do that with the Y values also. So Control C, and then over here Control V. Okay, good. All right. So now the theoretical values are calculated with a formula. Or function of the angle theta. So I'm going to show how to put in the formula in the first cell and then see how it automatically will calculate for the remaining cells. So I click on the first cell here, and then I can just start typing, and you'll see it fill in up here on the formula bar. So whenever you're entering a formula, you start with the equal sign. Oops. And then in this case, the formula is going to be 500 times cosine, which is a built-in function, and I do the parenthesis to start. Okay, and then it's cosine of theta. So I could try to type that in some way, but what I really want to do is, because I'm going to be using data from another part of this table, I just go over to the cell that I want, which is theta here, the first one, and I just click on that cell, and it automatically fills in the reference for that cell, which is this funny looking thing here, bracket, @ sign, bracket, theta, degrees, and then bracket, bracket. Okay. Then after that, I'm going to type, Excel seems to work in radians in its trig functions, so I need to convert. As you can see, my thetas were in degrees, so I need to convert that to radians. So I'm just going to say times pi. Pi is really a built-in function also, so you need parentheses that doesn't have any arguments, so just opening and closing parentheses, and then divided by 180 degrees. Okay, and then I close my parentheses for the cosine function, and that's that. I think I can enter now. Good. And then you can see it automatically did the same thing on all the rest of the rows of that column. Okay, and then for y, it's very similar. It's just going to be sine instead of cosine. So equals 500 times sine. And then I go back, click on the theta again, boom, and then convert to radians.